Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. So happy to see you. I have a Voluspa candle review for you today. It is one of their best sellers, and the candle in question is Moso Bamboo. Look how stunning. This is just one of their tins. They're much more well known for their embossed glass vessels. I have a little mini here of the Moso Bamboo. And this shows you kind of what that embossed glass looks like. The Moso Bamboo comes in this jet black glass vessel, and they come in like larger, like I want to say 22 ounce maybe format. And then they come in like little minis too that are glass, and then they have tins. We've had this conversation before. I highly recommend the tins to you because this is where you get multiple wicks. By the way, I burned that. Look at that, all the way down to the wick clips. Oh my gosh, my hands are already like slick. So Voluspa uses coconut wax, and coconut wax is incredibly soft. It makes my hands smell so good though. I bet it's good for you too. I bet it's like good for your skin. Anyway, that makes Voluspa candles hard to store, to be honest, because they break down so quickly, that like plant wax, that you really can't store them indefinitely. Just kind of a word to the wise there. This is as I'm sure you saw, it's like this beautiful blue, like a jet blue, right? With a gold motif. And it's 12 ounces, by the way, 12 ounces with 3 wicks. This is kind of I think self-consciously Japanese influenced motif here with their packaging. And Voluspa has traditionally done a lot of Japanese branding in their marketing, especially in their tins. And this particular fragrance has some Japanese influence in it as well. So there's something kind of appropriate there with that. So Moso Bamboo, like I said, it's like one of their best sellers. I pulled out this like little mini, and it's because I had actually like a little Binny pack here. These are Ambers and Wood Macron Trio. And these are actually their top bestsellers from what I can tell. Moso Bamboo, Baltic Amber, and French Cade Lavender. Those are their 3 bestsellers. I like all 3 of them. I don't know that any of them are like totally hoard worthy for me. I've said before, my personal favorite is Santiago Huckleberry, but these are quite nice as well, and they're in my wheelhouse for the most part, with the exception of French Cade Lavender. But even French Cade Lavender I kind of like. Okay, so let's talk about Moso Bamboo. The notes on Moso Bamboo are Moso Bamboo, and I apologize, I'm not really sure what Moso Bamboo smells like. But second note is black musk, and third note is Japanese cypress. So some things I'm kind of unfamiliar with a little bit, but I'm going to try to describe it to you as best I can. Also, they have this huge blurb, so I'm going to read that to you. Gird your loins, sit down, find a special place. Roam a woodland trail and light a path to the forest, where the scent of the great outdoors thrives with huckleberry vines, and tall Japanese cypress boughs. Lush green thickets flourish in fertile, dark, musky soil, while fresh bamboo saplings blend with strong, tall reeds interwoven with greenery. Enter your secret treehouse and breathe in. So it's a lot. Basically, what they're going with there, I think, is fruit. So huckleberry, although it does mention mostly the vine, huckleberry vines, cypress, dark musky soil, and then basically bamboo and greenery. So you would expect an extremely green fragrance. This fragrance is actually less green than you would think, because to my nose, it's really dominated by the berry note. Yeah, it's a strong berry note, i.e. huckleberry. And you would think that it's really similar to Santiago Huckleberry, but Santiago Huckleberry goes in a much more warm amber musk direction, and like the fruitiness of the berries are just super deep and jammy, and they really like come out at you. This fruit sits quite a bit higher than you might expect even of a huckleberry. This, if I'm not much mistaken, this fruit, and it's a very fruit forward candle, this fruit kind of smells as if it has been mixed with something maybe even a little citrusy. I mean, it sits high and it kind of like opens up in more of a sparkling kind of way, and in a very like fresh, like I said, almost citrus kind of way. Actually, as I was burning this candle, you know what I thought to myself? Is this a dupe for, or rather, let's not get it twisted, is this the original? Is this the OG to which Harry Slatkin's Snow Day is a dupe? So I just burned Snow Day, and if you remember, that was like the balsam candle with citrus notes in it. And it was very like fruity and open too, like this, with the tree underneath. Very similar candles, Snow Day to this one. I would say that if you like Snow Day, you would love this candle, and vice versa. This one performed better than Snow Day, so there is that. Yes, there is green. And yes, there is this kind of almost dank, mossy note back behind it, which I think is really gorgeous. To be honest, upon it being burned, some of those nuances get lost a little bit. I would love it to be more green than it is. So in their lineup, this was considered kind of like their more masculine leaning candle. I would say that Voluspa tends to lean more feminine. A little bit more perfumey. I love Voluspa, I really do. I love the fragrances that they come up with. And I'm not really like a feminine perfumey kind of person, but I really, really like Voluspa. They tend to like fruity kind of fragrances as well. I like them. There's something simple but also complex about the way that they mix a fragrance. And long-standing in this collection, this Moso Bamboo has been like the unisexual one, or the somewhat more masculine-leaning one, which I think part of the reason why they went with this like really jet black, glass embossed kind of look. And I think for Voluspa, it's that kind of, it's almost a smokiness back behind that berry note. It's a smoky green component there with some musk that is passing for masculine in the Voluspa line. But I would say if you're not like a huge masculine, like loving person in terms of your fragrances, and are wary of like men's cologne, I would not worry about it. This is not a men's cologne. It's much more fresh and botanical, frankly, than it is like a men's cologne. But it does have like a deep kind of dank, musky component back with the moss that really anchors it, and that gives it a little bit more, it sends it into the deeper range for sure. So this is not a floral candle. But in lieu of the floral, those berry notes are doing what a floral would do, i.e. they are bright, they are warm, they are juicy, they are just opening the fragrance up in a way that is not low range, that is not musky, that is not traditionally masculine. Yeah, I think a lot of people would really like this fragrance, just across the board. It's a beautiful fragrance. Let's talk about performance. So performance was really good. It does take quite some time for even the 3-wick to kind of pull out all the way, because it's still a very wide diameter. For me personally, I kind of think they should maybe squeeze the diameter a little bit. If it could be like a little bit less wide, and then maybe just a little bit more base in here, that would be great. If it was deeper, I think you would get more burns. It would pull pull more easily, because you really don't want to like blow it out before it's gone all the way, but that like dramatically then like changes how many burns you can do. I really only got about 4 or 5 great burns out of this, and then the rest of it was just kind of like what I would call falling action, which is to say that like the bottom had already been cleared in terms of there was no more wax to melt. So a lot of the scent dissipated, and the last few burns were just kind of like going through the motions a little bit. Yeah, so I think that they need a little bit of a deeper vessel and a little bit smaller of an opening. And I just think that that would not only perform better, but also give you a few more burns. These tins are, I think, in the $25, $26 range, something like that. I personally wait until I can get some kind of sale of either 20% or ideally 30%. So sometimes these will be at Anthropologie. They have a good line of these at Anthropologie. They tend to not have the tins as much, which is kind of like But like Nordstrom's, Bloomingdale's, those stores generally carry a larger collection of the Voluspa. They will send them to you. So you can order them in the mail, and they will often run like 20 or 30% off. So I'm happy if I can get this for like $20 or under, and I'm willing to do it. It is like a premium kind of experience. The tins are gorgeous, and I just kind of like to keep my hand in with Voluspa. Strength and throw on this one, I would say was probably in the 7 range. I think at least the throw was at least a 7. The fragrance itself may be closer to a 6. I kept it for the most part in my back master bathroom, filtering into the master bedroom, and it definitely had a presence. I mean, you would burn it, and after an hour, you could smell it up in the 6 to 7 range, which was good. Snow Day, which is very, very similar to this, was giving half of that, and it had 4 wicks. So I'm really happy with it. It's really going to be up to you, though, in terms of, like I said, Snow Day is very similar to this one. And then spoiler alert, I'm burning a Kringle candle right now called Winter Wonderland, which is also similar to both of them. So I can't say that they're all like dupes of each other. I think the Homeworx one and this one are the closest, but they're all very similar. So it's really going to go, you know, you're going to need to determine which candle is more available to you, what's the price point, what kind of, I don't know, burn time do you want, etc. But generally speaking, though this had less burn time, less burns than Homeworx Snow Day, it also performed better and was more lovely. So there you go. And I do think it was a little bit more assertive in the fruit connection. Yeah. What's missing from this one that Snow Day has a little bit more of an ozone smell to it and is stronger in the balsam component. And that's where Winter Wonderland and Snow Day are closer, which we'll get to with Kringle. Because Kringle has the ozone and has the balsam and has berries, but less so. And then this one has a lot of berries, and that's very similar. And a high, almost citrus kind of component that's also very similar to Snow Day. So anyway, that is Moso Bamboo, one of their best sellers. If you want to try it, I just really, really encourage you to get the 10, get the 3 wicks. Please get the 3 wicks. Voluspa's candles tend to not perform and not have good strength and throw when they just have 1 wick or when they have 2 wicks. It doesn't work. And I really think that there are going to be few people who are going to have the money to gamble on like one of those hearthside candles that's like over $200 for 5 wicks. Yes, you probably are going to get a great like experience from that, but also it's going to take forever and a day to get through that candle. And who, especially, honestly, especially if you buy and burn a lot of candles, you probably don't have over $200 just sitting around for 1 candle that like takes up your world in space, in footprint, and in terms of how long you're going to burn it. So I really think for many people, like the 26 or the 20 is going to seem a little steep for a 12 ounce. especially because given this diameter, you really are only getting about 4 or 5 really good burns from it, but it's a whole lot better than over $200. So I recommend it. When in the summer, they have the Kalahari watermelon or whatever it is. Yeah, they tend to put it in this as well. And I think I saw this at Ulta or Sephora. It was at Sephora, I think. And then they started clearancing them out. So just always be on the lookout for the shallow tin that's 3 wicks. That is your best way to go. So there you go, my friends. There's Moso Bamboo. Would I repurchase it? I might. For me, it's kind of not hoard worthy, and I do think I can kind of get a similar vibe from other candles. So, but there are other Voluspa ones that I definitely would. And I haven't even gotten through and burned all of the Voluspas, you know? Like I haven't had one of the Baltic Ambers in this tin. Yeah, that's a special one. That's a special bulb. That's a really big seller for them. French Cade Lavender is good, but it's on the weaker side. It's on the weaker side. So I would suspect even with the 3 wick. Anyway, I'm going to link all the information down below for the Moso Bamboo. Obviously, I'll link the Voluspa website, but your best bet on Voluspa is to get them at Anthropologie, or even better, like if you have like a Bloomingdale's or Nordstrom's like wish list, put your Voluspa candles in there. They do on a semi-regular basis give you at least 20%, and I believe shipping is always free, Nordstrom and Bloomingdale's. So I would go that direction. For me, I would take that new holiday garland over this one. I like the holiday garland a little bit better. And it's partly because this berry fruit note for me is just a little bit high and a little bit generic, to be honest. And that's really kind of overwhelming the fragrance. I love what's underneath, but it's a little bit hard to like appreciate it underneath all of the berryness, which is admittedly nice, and many people are gonna love that. I like, if it's gonna be a berry and if it's gonna be a huckleberry, I like it much deeper in the lower range. And if that can't be had, then I would rather just have tree, you know? And that holiday garland one has that beautiful Italian parsley note that like opens up, it still keeps it in that vegetal green area. I kind of like that a little bit better. I'm kind of a botanical person, but for sure it's a bestseller for good reason, and a lot of you are gonna love it. That's Moso Bamboo. Really happy to say good things when a Voluspa candle performs. And it performed better than Homeworx, which admittedly is a low bar. At least with Snow Day. But it's still impressive because we're not used to Voluspa beating anyone in terms of strength and throw. And I'm really happy that it does here. Thank you so much, my friends. I will catch you in the next one. Either for the Kringle haul, which may precede this, because if it comes, then I will try to upload that before this video, or if you're watching this first, probably shortly thereafter, I will be uploading the Kringle Botanicals, which is green leaf and the fern and the butterfly. So excited. I'll catch you in the next one.